Okay, we're starting with our second class for Congregational song leading. On last week, last lesson, we went through the different names of the rhythmic names for the notes, and everyone was supposed to put in the counting for the phrase on page 3 in your book. It's the first line for "When I Survey the Wondrous Cross." And let's see how everyone did on this. Okay, looks like did not do that great. All right, why don't we take a few minute pause, moment of silence while people furiously work to try to finish this. How are we doing over here? Looks good. 1 through 4, 1 through 4, good and good. All right, yep, showing them how it's done here. And it looks good. Okay, also good. One, two, three, four. Okay, all of those look good. So just by way of review for this, each full measure is going, if it's a 4/4 time signature, each measure is going to have four, you're going to have a 1, 2, 3, and 4 in every single one. And if it's a 3/4, you're going to have a 1, 2, 3 for every measure. So going back to the time signature, the top number is the most important number. That's telling you how many beats in a measure. And in the hymnal, it's mostly going to be 3 or a 4. There are some exceptions to that. It might be a 6, as in 6/8. Those don't come up all that much. But if we have 4/4 measure, 3/4, if we have a full measure like this, then we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. And if it was all quarter notes, that would be like this. Whereas 3 beats in a measure, we'd have 1, 2. Okay, so that's our 2 basic time signatures there. And you're going to have that for every measure, every full and complete measure. And there are some exceptions where you don't have a full and complete measure, usually at the beginning or the end. And it depends on the type of song. We'll work on those later, and we'll talk about those exceptions and what to do. Now, why is this important? Because in whether it's 3/4 or 4/4 time signature, that gives you the different pattern that you're going to use. In both of those, actually for every single measure, the first note or the first syllable in the measure gets the most emphasis, and it's that way every time. So if you're thinking about in a hymnal, the first syllable in the measure always gets the most emphasis. Every time signature, every time. Unless you have an incomplete or partial measure, which will be, if you have one, it's going to be both at the beginning and the end. So basically it splits, the phrase splits a measure. But with that exception, then that first syllable or first syllable as far as the word or the first note always gets the most emphasis. So that's really important, because if you can feel the differences, the different emphasis, that's going to be a huge help for you when you're actually leading singing. If you don't feel anything, then it's just it's going to be just, you're not really sure, and there's going to be nothing specific. So now building on this, actually, any questions so far? What questions do you have so far? Okay, building on this, let's go to song number 312 in your book. Count Your Blessings, song number 312. And so when you're looking at this, count your blessings. In the first measure, on the first verse, when upon life's billows you are tempest tossed, we'll take just the first phrase. Which syllables get the most emphasis? So take a look at it in the first measure. Which word gets the most emphasis? Yes, sir?
The first and third, so when and on.
Okay. On gets a slight emphasis. When is the first syllable, so it gets the most emphasis here. What about in the second measure? Billows you are is the phrase here.
Want to do it on the first one again?
Okay, which is what? Bill. Okay, Bill as in billows is going to be there for the second one. And the third measure, yes ma'am. Okay, correct. Temp as in tempest. And then the next measure. Sorry, which one?
The next measure for tossed.
She just did tempest tossed. So then, okay, when is the next one? And then measure number 6.
Maybe that middle part, courage.
No, it's going to be, yes, courage, C-O-U-R, yeah, in the word discouraged. So it's going to be there. And your last one. What's the next one? All is lost?
All.
Yes, so it's the all in all is lost. So very simple rule to remember. It'll be a big help to you. Always the first syllable in or note in the measure always gets the most emphasis. And very consistent, all the time signatures, it's always that way. So what we're going to do in just a moment is actually work on our first song, which is this one, Count Your Blessings. So rhythmically, there's a little more challenging, it's a little more of a challenge than some of the others, but I used to start with 4/4 pattern because that's the one that gets used the most, but it's also the most complicated, or it's not the most, it's second most complicated. And I found it much easier to actually start with a 2-beat pattern, and a song that uses the 2-beat pattern doesn't get used that much, even though the rhythm overall on this is a little more, like there's more notes overall, it's much easier to feel. So that's why we're starting with this one, and it'll be a 2-beat pattern. So that part is simple, so it's the easiest one to feel when you're starting off. So here's what you're going to do. You go ahead and do this now. I want you to go through and put the counting numbers in each measure. So this one does not have a 3 or a 4. What is the time signature in Count Your Blessings? Anyone know?
4.
Okay, yes, this is 2/4. So that means that when it comes to our measures like we have over here, we don't have a, let me write in a 2/4. We don't have one right now, but how many quarter notes are we going to have per measure in 2/4 timing? Anyone know?
2.
Correct, so we're going to have 2. So 2 quarter notes per measure. That's assuming that you just have quarter notes in here. In this case, in this song, Count Your Blessings, most of the notes are 1/8 notes. So how many 1/8 notes are you going to have per measure? I don't know.
4.
4, right. So if you have 2 quarter notes, a quarter note gets 1 count in most cases. An 1/8 note gets half a count. So that means if it's all 1/8 notes, then you're going to have 4 per measure. So that means you're going to be writing a number 1 and a number 2 for each measure. So you're counting only up to 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So you just go through and find which syllables or notes get the count, on there and just put the number over them. So the answer is either 1 or it's 2. And so you want to go through the whole thing. And then let's see. Oh, we've got something new down here at the chorus. Did not go over the dotted rhythms, so we better do that because it comes up. Okay, let's talk about the dotted rhythms. Count your blessings. When you get to the chorus, we've got what looks like a quarter note, and this is the pattern that you'll see with an eighth note. We know from the time signature we got 2 beats in a measure. So if a quarter note gets 1 count, a dotted quarter, here's the rule of thumb that you want to be able to use. The dot adds half of the value of the note. The dot adds half the value of the note. So a quarter note is the same as 2 what? What's the rhythmic value? If we divide this into 2 pieces, we'd have, divide a quarter note into half, we get 2 what? 2 eighth notes, correct. So that means this would be the equivalent of adding an eighth note to it. So it would be like 3 eighth notes all added together, if we could add them together. So here's the counting. I don't know if that was a helpful explanation on this. But here's the counting here. The 1 is going to go here because we've got a full quarter note. The 2 is going to go here. And then an and is going to go on the eighth note. So normally we don't have to count it this way, but we also could do 1 and 2 and. Okay? And the and is a substitution for that eighth note. So what we're going to do here is 1 and 2 and that's our rhythm. Okay? So if we're counting that out, you can either do 1, 2 and, or you can do 1 and 2 and. Now, if you're tapping your foot, I used to teach band instruments for quite a while, especially elementary band instruments, and I would say tap it out. So what you would do for tapping your foot is when you have a count, you would tap your foot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2. And then when you have the and, that's your foot's going up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4. So if we're tapping this rhythm, it's going to be 1 and 2 and. And so this note here is on the upbeat, which is the second half of that count. So here's the simple way to do it. It's going to be like this: 1 and 2 and. So it's going to get both of those counts. This rhythm comes up a few times here, and so keep going through, keep working through on this. So when you see a dot, dot adds half the value of the original note. And go ahead and work on that for the rest of the song. Looks like everybody's doing well on that. All right, let me come around and take a look at how everybody's doing on putting in the counting. Okay, 1, 2, 1. Looks good, looks good. Yeah, I'd put the 2. Do you have an and in here?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I think
Okay. Put the and. You don't have to. You could also just put the 1 and the 2 right next to each other. That's good. 2, 1, 2. Well, yep, there you have it. Good. 1 and 2. Oh, looks good. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 1, 2. Very good. And okay, that looks good. All right, let's see how it went right here. 1, 2, and yep. Yeah, this is looking great here. Perfect. 1, 2, 1. See, this is a lot easier than you thought it was going to be here. 1, 2, 1. Okay, this one, the 2 is going to be over here. So you're going to feel the 2 here, and then this will be an and. Let's just make that change. That's good, and those are there together. Great. Yep, it's just that one spot there with the dotted quarter. Okay, let's see how we're doing. 1, 2. Okay. All right, that's looking good. Let's see over here. All right, so you see here. Yeah, it's all 1, 2. Yeah, it's looking good. 1. Yeah, so you got the dotted quarter underneath note there, so. Okay, just 1. Okay, so it'll be 1, is that an and there?
Oh, I wasn't sure how you meant 1 and 2 and or the 1.
Okay, so the 2 is gonna go here.
Yeah.
And then this would be an and if you wanna mark every single one.
Okay.
So you'll only have 1 and 2 here, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just change this to an and then this one's going to go to the number 2, and then this would be an and. So I think it's going to be, yeah, so no, this is right here, dotted quarters right, 1, 1. And then this would be, just switch this back, 1 and 2, and. Perfect, okay, yeah, you got the hard part, so you just change the easy one. Okay. Very good. Yeah, go ahead and change that there in your book so that you're able to line up everything there. Okay, so we're just got some folks just tweaking their answers. Now, here's why that's important. Why are we spending all this time marking the music? Because when you have a number, you also have a beat or a pulse to show. So every time you have a number, and this is true for all the music, you'll be at a different point in your pattern. And which point are you going to be at in the pattern? That's the one that corresponds to the number. So, for example, if we're over here, let's go down to this 2/4. So you'll be on beat 1 and point number 1 in the pattern when you're at this point in the music. Then you'll be at point 2, the upbeat, when you're over here, when you're saying 2. So this way we're going to be able to line up our pattern numbers with the counting numbers that are in the song. And so that's That's why we're doing this. So it's going to come together, I think, pretty well. Okay, so we've done the counting numbers for the Count Your Blessing. Last class, the first class, I introduced the 2-beat pattern. Let's review. Let me erase some of this over here. And we will go to the 2-beat pattern. And keep in mind, we're drawing this 2-beat pattern from your perspective. So it's, if you're looking out and you're seeing your hands, that's the direction that we're looking at it for the right hand. So it's going to go down into the outside, so it's going to be shaped like a J. We have number 1. We have a beat number 1 right here, and then beat number 2. You could put it at the top. I feel it right around in here, kind of off to the side, but this is our 2-beat pattern. So we've got 1 and a 2. Some people might draw it a little differently, kind of like this, shaped more like the moon. I like this one a little better, but that's the basic idea behind it. So let's work on that together. Oh, before we do this, and keep in mind this is going to be a quiz, you'll be asked to reproduce this chart, which I will complete here in just a moment. So the chart is the shape of the pattern. The numbers, which I just explained, are going to line up with the counting numbers that we're putting in the hymnal. And then we also have direction words. Here as well. So down, and this is true for all the patterns, number 1 is always down. Why? Because it gets the most emphasis. And the downward motion is a stronger, more emphatic motion. So number 1 is always down. 2 is going to be different in all the different patterns. In this case, it's the up direction word. So we've got 3 things to keep in mind. This will be on your quiz. It's just reproduce the chart. You draw it just like this. So you want to memorize this. You got your pattern, a J out to the right. That's for your right hand, and that's from your perspective. If you're looking out, you're going to trace the J that goes to the outside with your hand like this. But if you're looking at someone, obviously it's going to be going in a mirrored direction. So, and then if you're using your left hand, which is fine, it's still going to go down, but to the outside, okay? So it's making the J, so if you're doing both together, it's going to be like this. Let's talk about the use of different hands. Do you need to use 2 hands if someone were just doing song leading? It's possible. You could just use 1 hand. If you're right-handed, probably be your right arm. You can use your right arm. However, there is operator fatigue. And so if you're on the 6th stanza of a song, like your arms are going to be pretty tired, okay? And so being able to rotate in and out is a help. It's also a help to be able to use both hands so that later, or if you want to, for example, what if you're leading a song like It Is Well With My Soul? Wouldn't it be nice to have, which has like a call and response on the chorus? It is well, it is well. Okay? It's the most basic but fundamental choir directing thing. So I'd say just go ahead and learn both hands. It's not that hard. Learn with both hands. That way you can give your dominant arm a break when you get kind of fatigued, and it helps you as far as with independence of hands. Okay, so let's work. You can pick 1 hand, 2 hands, either hand or arm for right now, but let's practice our pattern, and let's just do the pattern first without saying anything. Okay, are you ready? Ready, go. There we go. Right, and so the key is you just want to, the J wants to go to the outside. And just Good, trying to stay together. Okay, let's pause here for a minute. Let me just talk about a few different things. Now, one of the things is you want to feel the numbers or the pulse or the beat that goes with each part of music. How you feel that is that you're not just doing like a mime thing where you're just kind of keeping everything the same. You actually change the emphasis. So if you watch my hand here. So you're actually going to snap the wrist a little bit, and you can also flex your fingers to help show and feel where that pattern is. Now, let me talk about your hands right now. When I started doing a master's degree in conducting, it was a very intimidating class at times. And my first song, I began leading the 4-bar introduction. And I got to where the choir comes in, and the teacher said, okay, that's far enough, we have enough to work on. I'm like, what happened to the choir? Like, I didn't even, it's time for the choir to come in. And the thing that he didn't like was my hands. So he had one of those students, it was a 4-year program at the time when I took it, he had one of the other students say, his name was Mark, he said, Mark, I don't know what he's doing with his hands, but something strange. Would you work with him on that? So let me talk about, so it's something I worked on quite a bit. Let me talk about, in general, what I found to be helpful. So here's a couple of things to avoid when it comes to your hand. Some people do weird things. So you think about if your hands are just in a mitten, not gloves, but a mitten. They're not like glued, super glued, because that looks kind of like, I don't know, it looks kind of weird, like if you're doing that. So you want them generally to be together, but you also don't want this kind of thing, because you kind of look, yeah, you know. I know some of you can be a little intimidating, but this is not giving us the let's sing praise to God vibe, okay? So you don't want your fingers spread too much. You want them loosely connected, not glued together, but they need to be mostly together. The other thing that people will do is, for whatever reason, some people like doing this, and they have like a pinky out, or some people are doing kind of directing and things. So think about this. This is, if you think of your arm, it's kind of like a fishing pole, and you want your fingertips to be the most sensitive, like the tip on your fishing pole. And then as you get closer to the bottom of your arm, the base of your arm, it's more stiff, just like the fishing pole. So you get a big fish on the line, the bottom of it doesn't move that much. It might move just a little, but a lot of the flexibility is at the end. So you want the same thing. So fingers comfortably together. Now, here's the other thing. Some people do this. Okay? What does this kind of look like?
Basketball.
Yeah, it looks like basketball, but what does it look like you're telling people? Yeah, hey, quiet down. So you don't want to just do this, and then this looks like you're way too happy right here. So if you're just talking about normal, so this can have, and using your palms down, you can use to help express some other things. This is getting into some things you'd use more in conducting. But the basic idea, what I found, is you keep your hand basically parallel this way, unless there's some other reason to make a change. So this would be kind of your neutral position. And then you don't want your fingers straight as if they're hyperextended for some kind of surgical procedure, because that would look weird. So you can have them curved, have the fingers curved this way some, and then what this allows you to do, so if this is your kind of your default position, now you're able to show a little bit of flex this way to emphasize something, so such as the different beats. So I like to flex the hand just a little bit. That helps me to feel 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And if your hands are generally vertical, doesn't have to be exact, but generally vertical, then that gives you the option to then quiet things down or help build things up, because now you have something different. Okay, so that's a lot of things to watch out for. There, it took a long time, but eventually I started feeling a lot more natural as far as with my hands. I think I just had my fingers were there's too much space in between the fingers, so there wasn't a clear pattern. I think it was doing something like this. So you don't want that. You want them comfortably together so it looks like you're waving your hand and not your fingers as a set. Okay, let's go back to our pattern again now that I've got you thinking about the 2-beat pattern plus avoid the Psycho Cat effect as well. Okay, let's do our pattern. Ready, go. There we go. Yes, looking pretty good. Okay, and now what we're going to do is add in some numbers. Let's start our counting. Ready, go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay, and which one gets the most emphasis? Let's emphasize that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's switch to direction words. Go. Down, up, down. Keep emphasizing the main syllable. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and relax there for a minute. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is switch back to numbers. And we'll do our 2-beat pattern with numbers. And 1, 2, 1, 2. And then what we will do is to try to take the next step or the next rung. We are going to chant the words, no notes right now because we're directing rhythm. Chant the words and then direct as we are chanting the words. Okay, so that will help us take the next step and get closer to the music. Okay, so let's switch to numbers, and then we'll go straight from that, and I'll say switch to it won't be direction words, it'll be the words to count your blessings. We'll do the first verse, so it'd be, when upon life's billows you are tempest tossed. Okay, let's start with our pattern. Here we go. Ready, go. 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Ready? Switch to our words. When upon life's billows you tempest tossed. Emphasize the first syllable of each measure. Dirge thinking all is lost. More chanting. Count your many blessings one by one. And it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Chorus. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God hath done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God hath done. And the end. Hey, pretty good. Okay, everybody's getting it. And so a lot of good things. You're able to put all those things together. That's great. Now, normally, when you get to the end of when you're doing a quiz, and we'll practice with the music, Lord willing, on next class, when you get to the end of the first verse, do you stop, pause, and wait for dramatic interpretation before you start the next one? No, you don't stop. You keep the train moving. Okay, it takes a long time to stop a train. And if you're leading congregational singing and you get to the end and then everybody's looking like, okay, do we go? Like, what are we doing? No, you just keep it moving, same tempo. You don't change the pattern. And so you would end, God hath done. Are you ever burdened? And you don't move at all, or you don't change anything. You just keep it going. Okay, what questions do you have so far on the 2-beat pattern or our song, Count Your Blessings? No questions. Okay, there's going to be a quiz, not next class, but the class after. And the quiz is going to be directing Count Your Blessings with the click. So I haven't gotten you the tracks yet. I need to check on that. But with the music tracks, it'll be the first one. Then we'll have another quiz, and then that one will be without the click. It'll be just the music. So the things are the same. It's just that one has a click. Every time there's a click, you're supposed to be on either 1 or 2 in the 2-beat pattern. Okay? Then the one without the click, obviously, you'd have to be able to hopefully either hear where it's supposed to be or feel the rhythmic emphasis, even if the click is not there. Okay, what questions do you have on that, getting ready for your quiz? Okay, yes, sir.
Will we be chanting the words while we do it? Will we be counting it? Or
Yes, good question. So when you have the quiz, it'll be your turn. You'll get up here, and I'll hit play, and then the music will start. There's a 4-beat introduction, and then you just start directing. So you can chant along with it. You can sing along with it. You can make it look like you're singing, but you're not. Any of those are acceptable. So in case you're wondering, you'll be graded on lining up the pattern with the music. That's pretty much it. So if you think of a 100-point quiz, the questions are when, that's the first one, when a pond lies billows, that's 2 questions, so it'll be 2 questions a measure. And it'll grade you just based on percentage. So if you line everything up, you get 100. And so if things are not, and you're doing when upon life's billows you are tempest tossed, then that would have been like 6 questions missed. So that is the plan. Okay, we are going to close right there before we get into anything else. And then let me know if you have any questions. But we'll be working, if you take a look at the back of the syllabus, that's the quizzes we're going to do, and that's in that order. We won't necessarily, as we get later into this, we won't necessarily do a quiz for the song with the click and the song without the click. We will for the first several to help as an introduction, but later on we won't. But we're starting with the 2-beat pattern. Okay, thanks.